Welcome everyone to Collaboration Station, episode number 40, if you can believe it, here in the community where we are doing our Wednesday space, which happens at 1 p.m. Eastern time every week. And you can join the conversation live and add your thoughts to the discussion. So if you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, or the live stream that's broadcasting on X, you can hop over to the space, just follow the link wherever you're at, or go to my profile, and you can join us here and add your thoughts. And today's discussion is going to be about, would you follow you? And ideas of when you're posting and your account and your bio, all these little details, if you just saw it out of nowhere, would you follow yourself? And we'll get into the reasons why someone might not follow you, or why people would. And we'll get into this topic. With me as always. So first, let me introduce myself. My name is Kate Bly. I'm a website designer and photographer. I also do a lot of AI kind of little tinkering and enjoy that quite a bit. And I have up on stage with me my wonderful co-hosts, Christopher Friant and Rich Silver. Allow them to introduce themselves briefly, and then we'll start the tasks at hand. So, Rich, why don't you start us off? Just a brief introduction about yourself, and then we'll go to Christopher. And Christopher, you can introduce the poll of the space after that.
Well, thank you very much, Kate. Thank you for what a wonderful introduction to the space. And it's always great to be up here with you and with Christopher. About myself, my name's Rich Silver. I am a guy on X, and I make a lot of cool stuff. If you wanna know about me, just check out my profile, check my highlights, and feel free to DM me if you ever have any questions. And yeah, let's throw it to Christopher.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Friant. I am an AI filmmaker, and I've been a 2D, 3D digital artist for 26 years. And yeah, I'm excited to get started with the poll. And the poll is, are foods like escargot actually delicacies, or just a trick people play on tourists? And your options are yes, no, or maybe.
Okay. Again, this poll is totally relevant to the space and the discussion, and we always appreciate a reply below the poll if you have any insights or thoughts. It seems, I don't know, I'm just going to take a wild guess. You're phoning in the poll, as they say.
No. It's just like a prep time thing. I didn't have prep time, so I did this.
Well, I mean, there is a precedent set by Rich when he did have to take over the poll for you. He did maybe the best poll we've ever had. And I'm not trying to get controversial here early on in the space, but I do want to
You're trying to stir the pot. You're trying to pit me and Christopher against each other, and it's not going to work, Kate. It's not going to work.
Yeah, ours is a bond that will last forever and beyond time.
I feel like each of us have that. It's a nice Venn diagram that we have with that in the middle for sure.
Yeah, it's a late 90s movie, right?
Yeah, we could have our own sitcom like very easily. It would be great. And I want to welcome everyone who's trickling in. Great to see you all. You're welcome to request a mic. Just come up and hang out on stage. If you want to chime in on the subject, you're welcome to. You're also welcome to share anything that you're working on, or you got cooking, or you've posted recently, or if you need help. Collaboration Station, after all, we are always looking to connect people that need to meet, and that happens in almost every space. So doing a quick intro of yourself even is a great way to just meet others and maybe make those connections. So this is always an open forum for that. And the topic of the day is, would you follow you? And we talked about this topic yesterday, and I have zero memory of why we decided on it. I know we had a really long conversation, the three of us, about it. So I don't really remember. I think it had something to do with me wanting to address the topic of, being a person on here, or being a brand on here, or your approach to how you put yourself out there. I think that was the original idea. And then we came up with this topic of like, would you even follow yourself? And I love this idea because it's something that I think about a lot. Being authentic, right, is the word of the century for social media. And so you kind of want to be interesting to yourself or whatever. Go ahead, Christopher.
I think people's knee-jerk reactions be like, of course I follow myself, but I mean, a good litmus test for this kind of thing is, are you entertained while you're making your content? If it's funny, is it making you laugh? If it's really good, are you feeling that yourself? I think that's a good way to do it. If you're just putting it out and you're like, oh, whatever, I don't really know. That's probably going to be the reaction of other people as well.
Yeah, Rich, do you have any thoughts on this?
I think Christopher's right. Yeah, it's definitely. Are you entertained by your own content? Do you enjoy it? Do you get a kick out of it? And yeah, the knee-jerk reaction is, of course, I would follow myself, but if you look yourself too closely in the mirror, you might see some things you don't like. And same thing with your content or your feed. If you try to kind of step outside of yourself and look at it as like maybe a self-reflective sort of way, or maybe as somebody who's just coming to your page, would they be interested in it? I like to think for myself that I would be, because yeah, I do enjoy making the stuff that I make. I do get a kick out of it. And I think I'm my biggest fan. Like I probably watch my content more than anybody else. I will guarantee that. But I'm also my biggest critic. So yeah.
So resonates with me. And I think that comes with putting yourself out there like authentically, is when you're obsessed with your own content. Like probably the most common feed I go to is my own profile and my own highlights, because I just love looking at what I did and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool, I like that. And just putting a little bit of everything out there that kind of encompasses you, it does help do that, because it's like almost like a journal, even if it's your professional self that you're putting out there, it's still like a journal of your professional insights or qualifications or wins or L's or whatever you want to post. I think a combination of all that, then that makes it fun as yourself to kind of go back and look at it and see over time what's changed and what you've highlighted and all that. And so we got Orah up here. I'd love to know what she thinks about this. Orah, would you follow yourself?
I would, but I'm glad you brought up the topic. And I only have a couple of minutes because I'm rushing out to a school thing. So when I leave, I'm going to leave the phone here on. Feel free to take away the mic if you get enough people, but I want to leave it so that, of course, my followers can come and benefit from you because you're amazing. But yeah, I would, but I am glad you brought it up, because when I was a tiny account, I just kind of like followed anybody randomly. And as I've gotten more and more people, and it's hard to keep track of the people I'm following, the things I look for are different than they used to be. And I think I need to brush up my bio. So normally I'm going to notice somebody from either engagement on my page or a comment or a post on the timeline, right? But then I'm going to go look at their bio. Is there something in there that interests me? And to be honest, for like me personally, going in and seeing a mini resume is not going to catch my attention. It's okay to mention some of the stuff you're in, but you really want to say something about yourself. I got to see that there's a human being behind that account, or I don't even go any further after that. Then yeah, content's important. Reposts are fine and quote posts are fine, but I need to see that there's something there that you're putting out that I would actually connect with and be able to like engage with you, not just see what you like. And then before I hit follow, I then go look at replies to make sure that, you're on a cranky person spewing toxic crap all over the place. I don't care if you're not super active in replies. That's not why I follow people with some anticipation of engagement. I follow them because I think they're going to provide me with some kind of value on my timeline. However, I've now added the additional step recently. I do go look on Circle Blade or Social Blade, and I see how many replies a person is making. And if you're doing like 500 to 700 a day, the odds of me following you have crashed pretty much down to nothing, because I don't feel, and I'm not saying this is true. This is just how I'm doing things. I don't feel that you're actually authentically engaging if you're doing that many outbound replies. Like, how are you looking at quality content and putting meaningful stuff out there if you're hitting 1,000, 2,000, forget it, 2,000? Like, I'm probably now going to research you to see if you're manipulating and block your ass and report you. But yeah, that's what I thought about that. So I will be brushing up my bio because as I look at it, I was just in a mood one day and changed it. And I'm like, yeah, I would follow me, but I'd follow me a lot faster if I was a little bit more understandable, because if you just came there and you don't know me, you're going to have no idea what I'm talking about, really. And then as for projects that are coming up tomorrow, we have What the Clock at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hopefully, I'm going to get home and edit the documents that I have told people that I'm hopefully going to have out before the show for our Linda Listen Linda campaign. And so they might not be perfect, but at this point, we're launching the campaign the following Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday. So I got to get something out there for the community. And the one good thing about articles is we can always polish it and edit it later. So I'm excited about that. What else? Oh, one more thing. This is just, it's a celebration kind of. Elon Musk replied to a comment that I made on somebody else's page. No, he is not subscribed to me, as many people thought, because the little badge shows up in the screenshot. I definitely would have been shouting that, but that was really cool. I've never even gotten a like, so that I got a comment. And I think maybe he's doing more of that with the smaller accounts, because I've seen a few small accounts getting comments or likes. So I think Elon might be aware that we're kind of grumbling down here in the trenches. And I think he's trying maybe to lift our spirits a little bit, is what I'm hopeful of. Okay, I'm done now.
Yeah, either way, congrats on that, by the way. And either way, is it's the algorithms working a little bit better, like feeding Elon stuff that he's probably interested in, or if he's seeking it out. Either way, that's always going to be a good thing. So super exciting. And yes, I'm going to assign to Rich, maybe go to the community or Orah's page or whatever and find the Spaces link and maybe put it down below, because Orah's got to run. I don't think she'll have time to do it for us. Because I do want to, I want to encourage everyone to go to that space. And I will be, Orah did send me some files to look, or a file to look at, and it was a lot, kind of got overwhelmed with it. But I'm going to sit down with that and, provide some feedback. Oh, Rich is gone. He's vanished. Hopefully he comes back.
I'm copying the link to send to you. I do appreciate it if you've got some feedback, but you know what? I know it was a lot because, I worked on it for a couple of weeks and I was overwhelmed and trying to simplify it. So whatever feedback you have is great, but I'm also just going to embrace my mantra in life, which is good enough is better than nothing.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, I think on this too, less is more. I mean, the stupid cliche phrase, but just those really hot things that are really making people grumble and focusing on those, I think will be effective, which I think you've got nailed down. So, and I'll be in the space tomorrow as much as I can participate, but I will be there to chime in when I can on those thoughts, because the discussion last week was great about it. And if anyone here, there's some people here who might not know about this, where the creator monetization program is broken, if anyone didn't notice. And so we're organizing. Orah is taking the lead on this. I'm just a small peon and trying to help however I can. A campaign to reach Linda, the CEO. She's CEO, I think, and reaching her directly in her feed and with targeted thoughts of how we could improve, like complaints and then also solutions, with just reaching out as creators on this platform by posting in all kinds of different formats, be it memes or just posts or articles, kind of all around the same time, which will be the next payout date. And then also drafting a formal letter that we can deliver to Linda in whatever form that takes, as if it's an article or actually, sending her something she requests, whatever that is, however that looks. So it's going to be very interesting. And if that interests you, you want to participate in it, I'd recommend going to Orah Space tomorrow. If you can't make it to Orah Space tomorrow, which is pinned up above now in the Projectotron, so you can check that out. RSVP for that if you can. If not, share it out and listen to the replay, or just, follow both of us and we'll keep you in the loop. If any of that sounds like, oh, that sounds interesting, I want to make sure my audience finds out about that, or I want to participate. And we're going to try and involve communities in it to just get these posts the reach that they need to reach her, essentially. Okay, so I hope I made that confusing enough for everybody, but thank you for bringing that up, Orah. And all right, so I want to welcome everyone who's popped in. Well, we've been rambling on about that. Thank you for joining us. And I remember now when we're talking about would you follow you, if anyone's kind of like, I need that third party perspective, unbiased perspective, if you want us to look at your profile and you're open to that, like maybe about improving your bio, or just maybe you're not reaching, like your followers aren't interacting with your content, maybe we can help with like just who your audience is or perceived audience is, and maybe if there's a disconnect there, we can help you, help you with that however we can. Anyone who's open to that, please request the mic. No pressure though. That's just an idea if someone's really, really looking for that kind of fine tooth comb approach. Other than that, we're just going to talk about generalities. And like Orah just did, she just came up and shared what she's been working on. Anyone's welcome to do that or introduce themselves to the space. Usually this is a really great group that we get in here, and you can kind of connect with new people if you haven't. It's an opportunity to introduce yourself that way. So everyone's welcome to, and you're also welcome to request a mic and just sit up here. I won't call on you unless you put your hand up. So it's a great way to also just expand the room, reach some more people, get your followers out here, like and repost. All right, so let's continue on with the topic. And we kind of got into like, if you are going back and looking at your own content and engage and enjoying it, not engaging with your own content, but watching the videos you've created, enjoying like maybe some of the posts that you've yourself has done, then that might be a sign that you're on the right track with following yourself. And maybe we can talk about some specific things that we can do on our profiles. Maybe we can talk about the bio, because Orah mentioned that she wants to improve her bio. So let's talk about how we can improve our bios in general. What would you guys say are some things that you look for when you're meeting somebody new and you go to their bio, not necessarily what their posts are, their feed, like you haven't gotten down to the feed yet, but you're just kind of at the bio. What are you looking for in that bio to make you consider following them? Because like, I know that's like the first step. We always will go scroll down and interact with the feed in some way and look at that. But when we're just at the bio, what makes you, okay, we're going to do that next step and scroll down and see what this person's posts about?
First thing I look for is reasons not to follow. And most of those have to do with a whole bunch of emojis, or it's like phrase, then emoji, then phrase, then emoji, phrase, then emoji. And like, yeah, that. And the other thing I look for is just absolute insanity. And it's usually pretty clear. Like they're talking about like, I am the god of X. X not meaning, X.com, but like I am the god of domination or something like that. I've literally seen that. So that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, I'm looking for just craziness, or if there might be a bot. And then that's the first thing I look for. And after that, it's like, I'm not looking to be entertained by a bio. I think that's kind of ridiculous. I think a lot of people suggest that, like, oh, be unique, be. Yeah, I think it's better to be to the point, which is what I do with my bio. I try to keep it short, to the point. You get it in like a half a second, and you move on, or you're interested. But yeah, I think it's I don't know. I don't know that it's a good idea to put a bunch of like cutesy stuff in there, unless you're like a parody account, then that's perfect for that.
Yeah, great points there, Christopher. That's a great way to frame it. Like, what are red flags, right, for you? Like the things that you don't want to see in a bio. That's a great
Their
way.
zodiac symbol. It's like this, like the first thing I see. I'm like, nope, moving on.
Yeah, because it does start with like the name, right? Like the visible name, and then also the @ handle is another thing. So it even starts there where we kind of start eliminating things, and like, yeah, a name with tons of emojis that we now have to decipher like hieroglyphs, and then sometimes even the extended name where it's like your your title in your place of employment. I don't know, something like that. I mean, those are all clues that like, okay, this is a professional person versus, maybe entertainment. I don't know. Like, I just like the name personally, or just as short as possible in the name. And, the @ handle, as long as it correlates in some way, or maybe it's something different. Like Orah's is different from her name, and it's fine. We get to know Orah, and we don't need to judge it on that. But when it's like, your name followed by 10 letters, number, alphanumeric, like code that makes it the unique, that's kind of suspicious, meaning maybe your new account, you haven't updated it, or you're a bot and you never updated it. So that's something that you can do right away if you are a new account, is just make sure that your handle and your or your name and your handle kind of correlate in some way, or make sense, or aren't just like look random. Like, we want to know that you maybe took a second to edit that. I think. Rich, is there anything that's come into your mind when you kind of just first get to someone's bio that you kind of think about, like, would you follow this person or not?
I think Christopher hit the nail on the head right there with, like, I think the first thing that comes to my attention are the red flags and everything that he listed pretty much, as well as, like, I don't like it if I see in there, DM me for credit or for removal of content or something like that, because that means that they usually post, other people's content all the time, and they just get away with it until somebody DMs. I don't like that. And then if there's any references to like adult content or anything like that in the bio, then obviously I'm probably not going to follow you. But I like it when it's concise. I like it when it's, just to the point. Just tell me about who you are, or what you're interested in, or what your mission on X is. Don't put too many links in there. You do have an extended bio, so you can always add all of the links you want to in there. I don't think they're going to be hyperlinks, but it'll still be a URL that can be copied and pasted. So yeah, just put all that in there. All the hashtags and stuff like that, I mean, they're okay. They're not going to get me to not follow you, because usually your content is what's going to get me to follow you. But if your content's definitely not there, and I'm seeing all these hashtags and, like Christopher said, the emojis and other spammy sort of looking content, then I'm probably not going to follow you. But yeah, you guys, I agree with what you guys said.
Another thing that I look for is, if you're working for an organization that I know, it doesn't even have to be like a big organization like Microsoft or something. It's like, oh, I know their product, and that I'm probably more likely to follow because, I'm interested in that company and what they do and the people who work there. So that's a good thing to put in there also.
Yeah, that's a good point. Any kind of associations you have with other accounts. Yeah, I'm really like the matter of fact bio, because I talked about this, I think last week a couple times, was when I first came to X, and I'd click on someone who's got like all these followers, and I'm like, oh, this person must be a big deal, or be cool or something. And then I click on their bio, and it's just some like cryptic like phrase or quote, and like I have no idea. I'm walking in with zero context. I have no idea who you are, even though apparently you have 1 million followers or whatever, or 500,000 followers, or even 20,000 followers. It's like that's impressive, right? And it's like, I'm supposed to just know who you are. I kind of liken it to the dating profile. And then I'm going to throw it to Brian, who's got his hand up. So great to see you up here. When you I haven't been online dating in a long time, but when you are doing that, you're kind of just cruising around looking at people's profiles or whatever to see who's around. And then you click on it, and there's like no information about the person whatsoever. You're just supposed to be like, okay, I'm not going to message you and attempt to date you now without any information. So it's kind of like that, like, because networking and finding people to follow, and cool accounts and cool people, and friends, even, it is a little bit low key, like kind of dating, like you're just trying to get a feel for the person and stuff. So that's what I think about when I'm not looking at other people's bios, but thinking about my own. Are people getting it? Like, are people understanding who I am? And I'm probably not the model of that, but I am consciously thinking about that.
I think it's indicative of the kind of person they are. If it's vague and unfocused, you can be reasonably assured that that person is vague and unfocused. And, you know, I guess you got to decide for yourself if that's something you want to deal with.
Yeah. I just want a general gist of like who this person is. So good to see you, Brian. How are you doing today? Thanks for joining us up on stage.
Hey, buddy. What's going on? What's up, guys? Chris and Rich and everyone else out there. Yeah, so for here, I'll just give my quick take on the who do I follow situation. I actually don't follow a ton of people, and the reason why I don't is because I base it mostly on engagement. If you know anything about me, everything I'm about is about engagement. So I don't just follow someone because they followed me. I don't follow someone because something that's in their bio or not in their bio. But I do agree with a lot of that red flag situation. That for sure would deter me away. But with regards to following, it's about engagement. It's when you're on spaces, when you get to talk to people, when you hear people, when you hear their opinions, when you hear their perspective. I don't do a whole lot of investigating. Like what Orah was talking about is like, that's, in my mind, that's madness. Like she's obviously well more versed in this platform than I am. And so I can't, if you're trying to go deep, she's the one. For me, it's much more surface. It's just like, hey, is this person cool? And if they are cool, like, would I be interested in the thing that they're talking about? Is there a way that I can support them through simply being on the following page and just throwing up a couple comments on some things that they're typing about, and that's really what it is for me. It's engagement, and most specifically mutual engagement. Like I don't follow a ton of people because of that reason. It's just like I don't like the idea. And Kate, you know my story with a lot of this, with the numbers and how I deleted so many people and all of this. I just don't like the idea of stacking numbers and doing it this way or doing it that way. Like there's so much of this, can we beat the algorithm sort of strategy? And honestly, I'm to the point now where it's just like, hey man, if you're real, honestly, I don't like, sorry Rich, but I don't like avatar. Like I personally just don't like those, even though I know you're a real person back there, and for everyone has their anonymity. We're just being honest here, right? We're a safe space. I like to know that there's people involved. So even if you do have an avatar, at least if you're like Rich, active and engaged and communicating and offering value on your spaces and offering value on your posts, then I'm much more likely to share. Honestly, what it says in your bio, the red flags are all there. But as long as you're a real person, it's like, who am I to say what message you're trying to put across through your bio or through your banner? Honestly, banners matter to me. I look at banners, and if I can get some sort of clear perspective on who you are, I don't know, for some reason I feel like banners matter to me more than bios. But bottom line, sorry for rambling, engagement. It's just be real, be human, let people know that you exist in real life besides just the pictures that we have here. And that's really, to me, what matters the most with all of social media.
Yeah. And the great point about the photo, right? So like, and the thing is, I'll forgive a lot about a person's profile and profile photo and even their feed if I'm talking to them in spaces and I get to know them, right? Because especially if you're a newer account, you're not going to really have all these tips and stuff figured out. You may not know and maybe don't have time to do all these things. So it takes a little while to build it up. But you come into a space and say hi and introduce yourself and we have a conversation about something. Like, I'll forgive a lot of this stuff because I'm getting to know you as a person. So that's like a real strategy that works and is effective. And with Rich, he's in spaces all the time, so you can get to know him that way. And then also with his engaging content, you really get to know him as a person through his content. But then also he does from time to time post an actual picture of himself or his life, and that helps with that too. So you can kind of break through if you're going to be doing like an avatar or a picture that's not you, really being authentic in other ways and pushing that forward can help. And his silver dude is like so part of his brand and it's eye-catching photo, so it gets you to be curious and investigate more. So I think that is super helpful.
Yeah, and Kate, I know you're a great friend and you're standing up for Rich, and I was totally just breaking his chops about about the thing, because I do get it from his, his brand and all of that. So it's just, I was just breaking his chops.
No, but
you're
I agree with
completely
you,
right.
Brian. And I agree with what Kate is saying. I agree with both of you, because whenever I come across people too, like if it's a genuine photo of them versus like just AI generated image or something like that, I'm more likely to trust them, maybe, or to be a little more interested in them. I mean, I think it's just natural when we see each other's actual image, what we look like and stuff like that. It's just natural to kind of open up to somebody a little more that way. But what is unfortunate though is that many of us could have AI generated images that look like a real person, and so we don't really, we don't know anymore sometimes, so there's that.
It's true, bro. There's layers to this. There was
Yeah.
a lot of science studies that came from the COVID situation, and like kids in developmental stages have had massive trust issues because they didn't get to see people's faces for a period of time under the masks and so on. Now, that applies more towards mannerisms, like understanding and interpreting facial. I'm not the scientist here. I'm not going to get the words right, but I think you understand what I mean. Where they couldn't see your mouth moving, and they couldn't quite gauge feelings and all sorts of problems that happen. Now, yeah, again, we're here behind avatars. We're all avatars on here, whether it's a picture of our own self or a picture of something else. But yeah, there is that element, I think, of trust that's built right into saying at least this person looks like a human or something. I don't know. Hey, listen, I love Avatar. I guess I don't know. Don't make me. I'm not a bad guy at this. I'm just
You're not
saying.
a bad guy at all. You're an awesome guy, and you're honest, and you're sharing the truth with us, in your opinion, and that's what matters. And what you said about like having that face-to-face connection where you get to see the facial expressions, the tics and the cues of somebody when they're talking. Like it's the same thing what Kate mentioned about when you actually go into a space with somebody, you hear those inflections of their tone of voice and how they speak and something like that. And so it's similar to those facial expressions, just a different, a different way of connecting, I suppose. But yeah, this is great. I love this conversation.
It's certainly a deeper level of connection than you would ever get through text.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then the live streaming is the next level up from that, which I will be doing after this space. And I see you, Jonathan, there with your hand up. I'm going to get to you in a second. I do want to just chime in and say, like, Brian, your insights are fantastic on this. And I completely agree with you on everything. But there is a strategy too for being a brand, for being a avatar of a certain type of account that's maybe not you, or it is a piece of you, or whatever, but a niche, right? So there is a strategy for that. And so I think talking about all those different parts of it is important, because like it's not everyone can put their face on their profile. I know that's a reality, and they can't put like, selfies, and they can't put like videos of themselves talking. There's reasons people have for this. So there's strategies for all of that kind of approach.
Yeah, sometimes you're playing a character, like Retard Finder is one that's popping up everywhere.
Yeah, I can't believe he hasn't found me yet, but I'm sure he will soon enough. No, I performed under a stage name for years and years and years and years. I know all about it from that capacity. And yeah, I don't, believe me, I don't pretend that I'm well, the two of these guys are raging in the background. Guys, quiet down for a second. I don't pretend that like I have the perfect profile or I have people like it or don't like it or whatever. Just simply for me, it's just the question was like, what makes you follow somebody or not follow somebody? So I guess for that, am I interested in following somebody's avatar brand because of a particular product or something that they're offering? It's more unlikely than likely, especially if you're not talking to them and having these kinds of communications. Just strictly talking about who do you choose to follow.
Yeah, exactly. And that all comes down to like your ultimate goal of why are you on social media. And I think we can dig into that in a second. But I want to throw it to Jonathan, who joined us up on stage and been patiently waiting while we've been chatting about this subject. So I'd love to throw you the mic and see what you've got to say on this. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, everybody. Nice to meet you. Hey, Kate, Christopher, Rich. Thank you very much for providing me with the mic. So I'm completely new on X and kind of like for social media, I was completely out of it, like for the longest time. I joined X like in the last February. And basically I hear that like there's people saying, you should niche down, other people saying you shouldn't niche down. The niche is you, etc., etc. And I kind of having like the shining syndrome and I'm kind of being like all over the place. So yeah, I'm not just sure exactly how to, really start all of this. I mean, I'm trying a lot of different things. I don't really look at the result because I will look at it later on. I just trying right now. So yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for joining us up on here and sharing those things. Cause yeah, it's the shiny object syndrome is real. Like when you're especially hopping around spaces and listening to people, like there's all kinds of great coaches on here that do spaces and they provide fantastic advice. And I do encourage like kind of jumping around and listening to all the different people's advice and then figuring out like what fits for you. Cause it's going to be a little bit of everything and it's not going to be one size fits all. So for me, I'm totally in on the brand is me. And we could argue about who said that first on this platform. It could have been in one of my spaces and maybe some people heard it and started talking about it. I don't know. I didn't invent it.
We do start a lot of trends here.
Yeah, we do low key. Yeah. But when I came onto X and I wanted to start like promoting whatever I'm doing and everything like that, I thought about it as like, okay, the brand is me. I'm going to be just myself. I'm going to talk about what interests me. I'm going to post about things that I'm actually doing in that moment or around the moment when I'm actually doing things, when I have a unique thought or a unique idea. I'm going to post about it or bring it into a space or just chat about it in the replies with people and be authentic in the moment that way. Because when you do niche down, which I will say is a very effective strategy for growth. If you want to grow quick, it's definitely the best approach. But I know me, and I know if I niche down and try and just post about, let's just say website design, which is mostly what I do kind of freelance for a lot of my clients. If that's all I was going to post about, I would be insanely bored pretty quickly because I do that for my job. And it's like, yeah, I have stuff that happens that comes up and I chime in about it sometimes, but it would be really boring for me and probably boring for a lot of my followers eventually. How much can I actually just talk about this stuff? And I do post about it from time to time as things kind of come up. So it is part of my content, but it's only a part of my content because it's only a part of me and it's not like all me. And so that's how I think about it. There's definitely, everyone has a different approach. So if like you're a casual user on X, meaning you're here, you check in maybe once a day or once every other day, you post something here and there, maybe niching down would work because you're not going to be super active on here. Whereas if you're super active, you're going to run out of stuff in one niche pretty quickly, I think. So sharing more about like your other hobbies and interests and other things that you do that you can chime in on, your life experiences, your educational experiences, all this stuff, your career, you can family even or home life that you can tie in if that's where depending how much personal information you want to reveal, then it can all just be you. And that's the strategy I've taken. So we can go ahead to the panel here. Rich's hand shot up, so maybe you have some thoughts on this too.
Yeah, Jonathan, welcome to the space. First of all, it's good to meet you. I was going through your profile while Kate was speaking, and so I didn't, I can't focus on it 100%, but it looks like you're really into, AI tools and hospitality, drones, robotics, maybe, and stuff like that. And I think everything you're posting looks like authentic, genuine thoughts and ideas that are coming from you, like not things that you're like finding on the timeline and copying other people's thoughts or artwork or videos. Like your profile looks really good to me. So I gave you like an instant follow. I like what you're about. One thing that I would suggest is that you have this video, which I haven't really been able to listen to because, I'm listening to the space, but it's 2 minutes long and, you're talking to the camera and it looks like you're kind of introducing yourself maybe. I would pin that to my page. You don't have anything pinned right now to your profile. So like something like that is the first thing that somebody should see when they come to your profile is like this video of you. Cause you're a good looking guy too, on camera, introducing yourself to your audience. Put that up there, get that pinned and keep rotating your pins. Keep posting videos of yourself, keep posting your content, whatever resonates with you, and find some communities too. I think I saw in your highlights that you posted into one community, but yeah, the more you post in the communities, especially lately, the more your audience will grow. Yeah, but just keep it real. Keep posting whatever interests you. Maybe get into more like news articles and stuff like that. Like try to post like what's breaking, what's developing in the AI community. Maybe share some articles if you have a premium plus. But yeah, good to meet you, and thanks for coming up here.
Thank you very much, Kate and Rich. Thank you. Honestly, that's amazing insight you just provided me there. Thank you for like going through my profile. Actually, I didn't even thought you was going to do that, but that's amazing. Thank you very much. And yeah, I guess that one more time, my idea is really like to basically like I'm working in the hospitality industry. I'm based in France, but I kind of working internationally. And yeah, I just want to basically provide some insights regarding AI and how, it can be used in my particular field. And in the same time, just share like my process in trying like to develop myself and just like probably, just give like some insights along the way in my modest profile right now. But thank you very much. Honestly, amazing.
Yeah, great. And thanks, Rich, for doing that. Because I can provide some of the like existential ideas and trajectories you can take with your account and everything, because that's how I think. And then Rich digs in there and gives some like real practical advice, like things that you can do today, which is very cool. So thanks for doing that, Rich. Because yeah, I'm not the I don't like talking about maybe specifics with profiles because mine's certainly not optimized. And there was a couple things that were brought up, and I want to welcome Jeff to the stage and Giuliano. Oh my goodness, I know I'm butchering that. I'm so sorry, Giuliano.
Giuliano.
Giuliano. To say it faster, and then thanks for joining us up here. If you want to chime in at all, just feel free to throw a hand up and then I'll know to throw it to you. And we're just going to keep on vibing and chatting about this. But one thing that Brian brought up way back was the banner. And this is something I need to work on. I've created very simple banner for my profile to just kind of show people like visually, this is my name, this is what I do, this is my website, so that people can see that visually right away. It's kind of like my business card, that graphic that I adapted for the banner, and I want to update it and change it. So maybe we could talk about like graphics and banners and how we can use them. It would be great if it could be a video banner. Wouldn't that be cool? Or like a little GIF or something so it could change.
That would be awesome.
Or like a carousel with a few different images.
Stop it, Kate. I have too much to do already.
I know. Like I'm complaining about not having time for just my little graphic, and I already want to upgrade it. But like, so when it comes to banners, I think the go-to for a lot of people is like, okay, I'm just going to throw an image up there that I think is pretty and that people like, or I like, right? And I can be guilty of that as well. But I think it's an opportunity to put, if you have a website, just having that branding reiterated or tying it into your profile picture some way so that it is like a cohesive branding. You don't even have to think about it as a brand, but I mean, probably Brian can speak to this. It's just like you want it to be cohesive and make sense. And I think that's what I mean when I'm saying branding. So, including your website or including the colors that are part of your website, or your name, again, bigger so people can see it. I don't know. These are just some of ideas that I've had as far as like utilizing that banner. Let's see. I don't know, Christopher, I haven't checked your banner. Your banner is just a really cool image. Have you thought about incorporating other things into your banner? And Rich too. What yours is a really cool image as well. So maybe you guys can chime in about why it's just that.
That's just an image that I really like, but yeah, I am thinking about a rebrand that would probably very much change that. Probably just like a straight logo, something that I spent a lot of time on. I probably wouldn't go for like the little arrows or the follow and donations or whatever, like the arrows, because that stuff changes all the time. And if you're on mobile, you're pointing to something that doesn't exist. So, and I really don't want to mess with that. So, yeah, that's the plan. So this is just a placeholder for now.
Yeah, I would, it's funny, is mine's a placeholder too, but it's been a placeholder for like 7 months. And it's funny because before I rebranded to Rich Silver, because I used to be Collect Silver, I used to be more like hobbyist centric, and I decided to be like more about myself. But anyway, when I was Collect Silver, like I had this really amazing banner that I put a lot of time and effort into creating, where like I'd cut out all of my different collectibles and put them in this really cool assortment, like a collage. And it was really colorful and everything. And now I swapped it out and I put what that is it's a painting that I did. It's just like a pour painting, and I thought it was really colorful and pretty, and so I put it up there. And I think I've kind of gotten attached to it, but I really do. I mean, you do have this banner space that's like real estate that you should be taking advantage of, I think. So I mean, put some text in there, put some links, drop a website, share a couple like just inspirational quotes or whatever you want, something that's about you. Maybe have an image that kind of blends into your profile photo. I've seen people do that, but you have to be good at doing that, because like Christopher said, if you go to mobile or a different platform, it may not look like it does on the web, But yeah, I need to get mine updated because it's been a placeholder for far too long, and I do want to put just some text in there to kind of further elaborate on what I'm about.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to, just share a little bit more, give a vibe. Like, I think that's what happens with your guys' banners as the placeholders, and probably mine too. It's just like, it kind of gives that vibe. Like Christopher's making some really cool dark art, and then Rich is a little bit more like wild and colorful and bright. So it sets the tone. But I want to throw it to Brian, because he knows a lot about branding. So, and he brought up the banner as a point of interest. So I want to hear what he has to say, and then we'll go to Jeff.
Yeah, so I have a couple things you can look at my banner and just obviously see what I feel is a good banner for me and my brand, right? But with regards to branding and social media and all of this stuff, every touch point that you have is an opportunity to make an impression and make yourself memorable to the viewer or the person who's engaging or receiving the message. And it's visual, it's audible, it's in a variety, it's through smell, through touch. There's a lot of clothing brands use specific materials, and you can tell like this is a particular brand because of the way it feels, right? There's so many different ways to touch all the senses. And yeah, I agree. The banner is massive real estate that I think is underutilized. So I'm going to pick on Rich again, because this is just where today's going. Rich, like if you design that image that's in there, if that's one of your creations, a suggestion, I'm okay, maybe you can call me whatever, but a suggestion, make your banner you saying like literally, or your image pointing and saying, this is my art, like that. Like I create things like this, right? And Chris, same thing. Like you have that Phoenix looking angel, and right away when you click on your profile, it's 2D and 3D digital artist. So it's like, if that's something you made, that would be incredible, right? I would be like, oh, this is what he does. Here's an image of it, right? That's fantastic. Like I know some other people in the room, Danielle's down here, and hers is text based, and it's very clear. Like she's communicating her message, where the WTF moments lead, right? So I think that there's a lot of underutilized leverage in people's banners, especially in spaces. Most of us are on mobile, you touch somebody's face right away, you see their banner. Yeah, leverage that space, guys. I think Jonathan was the one that was just saying he was new here. His banner's awesome. He communicates that he's on a journey, and he's developing, and he's learning, and he's trying, and he communicates that through that word, and he's really owning this word trying. It's in his bio, it's in his banner, and it's like almost encouraging you to join him, just to be part of his team. You want to support him and watch him grow and watch him succeed, right? So that's an excellent use case. So I think there's a lot of opportunity really to leverage that, and it could be what I don't like about banners is if it's just some obscure image that's something that only you understand. that's a waste. If it's just a picture of something that maybe something you like, or maybe something that, I don't know, if it's not, you were on social to communicate. And if you're trying to do anything on here, you're communicating a message. And if the message is unclear and vague and obscure, and then you're not really wanting to get people to communicate with you. So if you do want people to communicate with you, leverage whatever real estate you have.
Yeah, great point there. Slapping all of us. It's good. We need it. And, it is just a point of communication that we can take advantage of. So maybe this is our little homework assignment that we could do for next week's space. We could all maybe work on our banners, that the ones that maybe want to do something with it or improve something or change it. We've just been putting it off. And what we could do is next Wednesday, show up at the space and maybe talk about the changes we made, before and after type of post that we could share in the replies. And we can talk about like what we did. And then we could offer insights maybe for us as a critique, or maybe something different that we could improve or change if we wanted to do that. But otherwise, just, share and show the changes and just show that growth, like a little bit of encouragement to keep pushing ourselves a little bit, and that have a week to do it, I think would be a cool idea. So I think I'm going to, go ahead.
I was going to say, I just don't know why that's the thing I'm sitting on. Like, I keep putting out like all this other amazing artwork, well, amazing in my eyes, and music videos and like all these like images for our spaces and just all this other stuff. And yet my banner image stays the same. So I do need to change that. I'm so glad that we had this discussion.
No, I know. I'm the same way too. Like, I've been thinking about it forever. And I have, like Brian was talking about, in the past, I've had my banner as a photograph, and I had a QR code on the banner for people that would take them there to buy it. Like, I've done this before. I've had it different things before, and it's like, why not? And then have my website on there as well. Just a few little things in a beautiful way that reflects like the style and vibes that I like to convey. And I've just like completely dropped the ball. It is interesting. Why is it that in particular that we've completely ignored? All right.
Especially when we don't lose our blue check mark. Sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
Yeah, I know. There's no excuse other than we just got to open up Canva or Adobe Express or Photoshop for 5 seconds and just create something, and then test it out on mobile and make sure it looks good. All right, let's continue on with the hands here. We got Jeff G up here joining us, and then we'll go ahead to the ref. Jeff, how's it going today? How are you?
Every time I go to push that mic, my window wants to shut down. I'm doing pretty good. Really enjoying the conversation. It's been quite educational and entertaining. So, I kind of want to agree with, and I think it was Brian, but I'm not sure it was Brian or Jonathan. The way I've always done things since I've gotten back involved with the social and everything, and particularly with spaces, I prefer to sit and listen to people talk and get a feel for that person and what they have to offer. And then I'll go look at the profile and stuff like that. But it's, as far as the following and everything, my first reaction is to wait and listen, and you get to know something about that person and whatnot before I jump on, and I'll go look at the profile and that sort of thing. And most of the time that's just, to kind of gather a little bit more information about that person and who they are and what they're about, as much as I can. But I just never put as much stock into the profiles as a lot of people do. That's not to say that isn't a good thing. This is just kind of my approach to things. But as far as the question of would I follow me, I thought when I first read that and when I first listening in, my first reaction to mine was, oh, hell no. I know me. I'm a lunatic. Why would I ever want to follow me? The thing is, to me, is all of the following that I have on my account, as far as I know, it comes exclusively from, when I get up here on the mic and speak, But the example that I'd like to give for that was a bit of a short story. They're a very good friend of mine up in Seattle for many, many years. I've been trying to get him into one of my business ideas because he was a great business leader who didn't believe in himself that way, but he really was. And he loved my ideas, but I could never get him on board. Well, one day we'd gone out to breakfast on a Sunday, and afterwards we're standing around talking. I'd been pitching one of my ideas, and it was clear he loved the idea, but wasn't going to, commit to it in any way. And finally I asked him, I said, Franz, why is it you love these ideas, but you won't jump on? And he instantly hit me with the greatest slap in the face compliment I think I've ever had. He says, well, let me put it to you like this. If we were standing next to 1,000-foot cliff facing a stampeding herd of buffalo and you said jump or die, I'm going to beat you over that cliff because I know you have already figured out how we're going to survive that jump and get back up here off the cliff after the stampede is gone. But as soon as we're back up on solid ground, I'm out of here because you're probably the damned reason I was standing here in the first place facing that herd of buffalo. I just thought, okay, but what he was telling me there is you've got a lot of great ideas, but you're not the person to be in the lead, and it took me a while to really figure that out, but he was absolutely right about that. But so, I've kind of made that a sort of a mantra for me, when I go out there is the stuff that I'm putting out of real value to others. And somebody else, I think it was Jonathan, was just talking about, doesn't really look at the results. I still haven't gotten heavily involved in posting content yet. And, and that's, to me, that's kind of a secondary usage for what I'm trying to do out here, or a secondary function. I'm not really trying to set it up as like a lead magnet type thing or anything like that. However, I do need to do some of that, and I'm working on getting there. But yeah, it's really about the value. And to me, the best way to do that is to listen to people here in spaces and engage with them from that perspective. And hopefully that eventually will lead where I need it to. But this is the thing to me that is the greatest value about X, is these spaces and the ability to do this and hopefully be able to encourage others to get up and do the same. Because I see a lot of people come into a lot of these spaces, and I'll see the same, PFPs over and over again, but they never seem to get up and engage. And that's the thing I hope we're in overall, that all of us are influencing people to do, because I have learned so much from so many people in here. Kate, that's one of the ones I follow. I don't get to find Rich very often, but when I do, I want to, and I have the time, I'm going to stick my nose in and listen because he's got a lot, all these guys, all you guys do. So, and the ones that are being quiet, don't let this hold you, don't let fear hold you back. You've got something to offer, to quote Brooklyn Brawler, everybody has some form of greatness in them, and you all have something of real value to offer everybody out here. And I'll land it with that.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, Jeff. Great monologue there. That was fantastic. And, you offer a lot in spaces, and the way you interact on this app with, you just hop in and listen. And then when something hits you, you jump up and speak and share what you've got. That's such a fantastic approach. And what is so great about X is it can be whatever works for you. So that's what works for Jeff. He's busy all day long. We hear him driving the bus, but he's still, interacting and participating. And then we get to know him. And, I don't see his posts. If he posts, like he said, it doesn't post much. So I never see them. I'm sure I would if he did. And I would love to see that more because of the stuff he does drop in spaces. It would just have to be these thoughts that he adds. He could just translate that into text and post it. But I know it's difficult for him because of the way he interacts with the app. It's a lot of the time it is just listening. So, his strategy of participating in spaces has worked out great for him. He's made a lot of connections, met a lot of people, and it's worked for him. So he doesn't necessarily need to start posting, but he could very easily just take what he shares in spaces and translate that into posts, and it would work out really well for him, I'm sure. because the value he always drops is great. So, you know, you can look at someone like him and see how he can grow an account without even posting. And it's just because he's very active. And when he has something to share in spaces, he shares it and it doesn't hesitate, which is what I really enjoy. And always happy to see him up on stage and know that he's paying attention. We'll add something good. So thank you for that, Jeff. We're going to continue on with the hands and go to the REF. How you doing today?
Only me. How's it going, guys?
Good, good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. Sun's shining. Spring's nearly here. I call this faux spring in the UK. One state starts taking their coats off, then it's -5 next week, and we all put them back on again. But yeah, I came in on this account because I'm very interested about this whole profile picture thing and how you play with your banner. One thing, a mistake I think in practical terms people make is they slap their text right across the center. And if you look at mine, I've shifted it to the right so that my profile picture doesn't obscure some of my text. Now, I work primarily on desktop. Another thing I do is I'll print screen. Well, I won't. I'll use the windows and I'll clip the actual rectangle and I'll paste that into Photoshop. So I will have the shape of it. And I'll also, by doing that, have the little half circle of the profile picture. So I know what's going to be obscured, and then you can see from my profile picture I've kicked all the text to the right. But if you click on my profile picture, and this is my funny little game that I'm playing, you'll see an Easter egg, which is normally obscured by my profile picture, and it's a little robot Easter egg. Anyway, just a little thing. Needs work, this. I just put it together really quickly, but definitely remember, my pet hate is people's profile pictures covering some crucial piece of information, you know. Yeah, just something to bear in mind. And then contrast, I think that I can see now that the text, I really need to improve the contrast on that. And sometimes it might not be quite as aesthetically pleasing as you'd like, but you know, having bright yellow on a dark green background or whatever, but sort of go for that, I think, if you've got something to sell. You know, go with really high contrast. So even on a tiny little phone, it can easily be legible and not too much information. That would be my kind of advice. And play with it. Just keep going till you're happy.
REF, I clicked your banner and I saw the Easter egg. It's so cool. That's such a good idea. You know, if there's a way for you to somehow include a hint that's behind there in your banner to encourage people who you didn't tell to actually click it to reveal and see what's back there, that will actually indicate to the algorithm more activity and engagement on your profile. Because anytime somebody clicks one of your images for a closer look, the algorithm loves that. So I love that little Easter egg that you put in there.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, and that reminds me of, I like to make little templates and stuff. So I should make a little template for the banner since I'm going to be working on mine anyway, so that you have where those overlays appear on desktop view versus mobile view. And it probably isn't perfect. Like probably every phone is a little bit different, but it is helpful to just have that when you are designing your banner, where those overlays are. And the screenshot is a great hack for that, because you can just take the screenshot, overlay it on your banner, and get a little sneak peek of like, okay, is this my profile photo blocking this text and everything? Because I felt personally attacked by your statement, because my banner looks fine on mobile, but on desktop, it's like my face is covering some text. So
I didn't say that.
So there's probably this is probably like a more advanced thing, but what about for Photoshop? You can have like I don't know if you guys ever seen those templates where it's like a smart object and you only update one image and then it gets updated you have like a preview of what that would look like in like all forms of setups. Like you got desktop, you got mobile, and you only have to do it once and then you get it, it instantly updates, that kind of thing. That might be a good idea to look at that, because you can kind of set it up that way. So one image, you don't have to move it around into a whole bunch of previews. It just does it automatically.
I'm sorry.
I'm just going to really quickly, in terms of design, if something's not symmetrical, so offsetting your text, a basic rule of thumb is split it into three. So split it into thirds and then put your text in the center of the 2/3 to the right, if that makes sense to anyone. It's how I've always operated with design.
Yeah, great tips on this stuff. It's like the practical graphic design tips are super helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it to G. I was talking to Avni in the chat and she said, "Oh, G, he's great." So like, oh, I'll just call him G. That works. So how are you doing today? Welcome to the stage.
Thank you for having me here. I'm honestly, yes, thank you to Avni, because honestly, since I started to connect with her, she's bringing me into so many spaces that I really enjoy. So thank you for having me here, guys. I would like just to say my little background experience about X, because personally, I opened my first X account because of cryptos. I don't want to talk about cryptos. I'm not here for that. But it's because of cryptos. And since I joined, I realized that especially on X, there are so many fake accounts, botted accounts. And as Jeff mentioned before, one way that I'm trying to, grow my followers, to grow trust in my followers as well, is to do what I'm doing now, jump on spaces, have a chat with the host and other speakers, try to be respectful. And I think it's something that I'm really looking forward for, because I don't have many followers, but since I started to do this, I had like 200 new followers in the last 2 and something weeks, and only being present on space. And I never put so much attention to my profile itself, just because I focus more on legitimacy with X, which I think is something that, especially related to cryptos, is very hard to find on X. So I'm trying to do posts that people read. It's not about cryptos itself. It's about motivational posts. It's more like you read it and you might relate to what I'm saying. In fact, that's what I'm trying to bring into the X platform itself, because again, I think there are too many. So since I had my blue check mark and I'm the official speaker of this crypto project, so many DMs of people saying, "Oh, you pay me some money, you get 1,000 followers, you pay me some extra, you engage with your profile." And that's not what I want, because I want real people to engage with my content. I want real people behind the screen to be there to, I jump on a space, I see people, reacting to what I say. I see people listening, and that's what I'm looking for on X. And again, for somebody that is in crypto spaces like these one, guys, are amazing, because you actually try to bring value to this platform, not only like, oh yeah, shield this one, put likes, repost, and all of these things. You actually try to bring value, and that's what honestly I really appreciate, guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. It's fun because occasionally someone from the crypto universe wanders in here and we get to get some insights, because there are a lot of like really cool people that are into that. But unfortunately, and as I'm sure as you know, there's so much that is spammy behavior that it gets turned off. Like us normies, or just me, I'm the only normie, get really kind of like shy and like put off and like confused and like all these emotions that make us not that excited to participate in those spaces or with those accounts. Honestly, when I see crypto in the bio, I'm like, I almost check out immediately, which is unfortunate, because there's probably some really cool people in that space that have a lot of just general insights to share about not just crypto, but other things that are cool. So yeah, wandering over and speaking into these spaces is a great way just to reach out to, the normies on X and connect, because it is one of those polarizing communities for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, because it's just about growth, and in any way you can do it, like maybe like it's the shortcut type of mentality or something. I don't know what it is, but yeah. So thanks for joining us. Great to have you. And yeah,
thank you for having me, honestly. And again, I love spaces where people, don't, because I go very often on crypto spaces, and that's where I met Avni, actually, on one of those crypto spaces where people don't go only a shilling, but they go there, they have, real human conversations. They can actually share their opinions. And again, that's how I connect into the X platform. That, is something that I cannot give it a value, because in the real world, you cannot really do the same unless you actually have achieved already something. While on X, that is the beauty of it, that you can actually, all of the people here on stage, guys, I'm honestly, I'm speechless because all of what you are doing, I just look a little bit to a few profiles. It's great, guys. I really appreciate what you're doing. Seriously.
Yeah, thanks so much for that. And yeah, this is the little secret about the spaces, our spaces in the Collaboration Station community, and in particular the ones that I host. Like, I've been very intentional with like how I put myself out there, and it's very much me, and it looks kind of like just scattered brained and discombobulated and like, who is this person? And it's like, well, that's me. That's exactly what I'm going through in my life right now. It's like I'm kind of all over the place. I'm a little bit scattered. I don't have the focus that I once had, and so I'm working through all this with you guys. And with that, it attracts like a certain type of person, and they're all really cool people. And it's pretty awesome when you start putting yourself out there like that. The cool people that you gel with, that you vibe with, that have, maybe we have nothing in common, but we just know that we could have a conversation. If we met up for coffee, we could have a really great time for an hour just chatting. And I know that about pretty much everyone in here right now. So you can kind of scroll through everyone on stage 100%. And then you can also go through the people that are listening, and they're all pretty awesome. And you can follow every single one of them and check out their profiles. Like, it's a really cool thing when you start making these connections. And Spaces is a fantastic way to translate that, because like just from my posts alone isn't enough. And I definitely utilize that feature. And then on top of that, live streaming or doing little videos showing your face. I haven't done that in a while. I am doing a live stream in just over an hour with my friend Rachel on here, and we're talking about AI for small businesses. So that's just like another way to get out your face out there, and another way for people to connect. And that's how I've made the friendships I've had, by people not just seeing my posts. It certainly wasn't what all these people in here right now first saw about me. It was definitely Spaces, or it was definitely with a live stream. And it might have been a connection and replies, or a connection through posts, or seeing each other's content. But ultimately, what sealed the deal, what got them to keep coming back, what got them to engage with me and me to engage with them, was those connections on these other levels, which is in Spaces, which is in live streams, which is in other ways. Like, I go to other people's spaces. So, the power of that is amazing. And so this is the place to meet others for sure.
Spaces are hot. Yeah, I love Spaces. And you know what? X is such a big platform. I mean, how many active users? Like what, 50 million, or that might be high. I don't know. There's a lot. But when you come into Spaces and when you start visiting them frequently, it starts to make X feel almost like a community. A small town, like you said, Kate, like everybody up here in the speaker panel, amazing people. Everybody listening, amazing people. Like, I know these people, like Caroline, Money, Nate, Ashley, Fauna, like everybody down there. Like, you're awesome, really great people. Edwin, CT, Negmatic, like I see you guys all the time. So yeah, Spaces makes it feel like a community, and I like that.
Yeah, 100%. And then just talking about subjects that interest me. Like, I know I could probably just host this space by myself up here alone for 2 hours just talking, and I would be able to talk about this subject, which is like insane to think about, right? But I want to hear from everyone else. But with that, I can definitely chime in. I can keep the conversation going. And then I know I have these great co-hosts. So finding other people like you that are into the same subjects and can talk on these subjects is vital as well to building that kind of community. And it's not forced. Like, I never forced any of this. You just get to know people and you realize where you vibe. And then me like, hey, I'm going to do a space, you want to come, you want to chat about it, or you free to co-host, I need some help, that kind of stuff just happens kind of organically. And then those relationships build. And that's what the Collaboration Station community is about. It's not about necessarily just coming up here and begging for help or saying, I don't know what to do next. Part of it is that, but it is about just like listening and seeing who's out there, finding the people that you vibe with, and making those connections. And then when you do need something, or you are looking for help, or you have something that you want to share that you think this person might be into, you know who to reach out to and how to talk to them because you've already heard them. You've already made that connection. And it's just, that's the real power of social media. And I saw Brian's hand shoot up on that point. So I want to hear what he has to say, and we'll continue on for the next 35 minutes or so in the space. So if anyone wants to add anything, please request the mic. Go ahead, Brian.
Kate, I was just thinking back, I want to say like back in the day, but it was really just like a year ago when you and I were just alone on Spaces, just talking for 2 hours, right? Before you turned into the media queen that many of us know you as now, with all of your Spaces and streaming and all of that stuff. But yeah, I can verify that. We've done that, right? About the 2 hours just talking on topic, which is a good thing. Hey, sometimes, that's how Kate and I built our relationship, really. It was just like, hey, what are you up to? I don't know. Just talk through Spaces. and that's what happened. And then just other thing quickly, I know Kate, for some reason, got like my space is on my mobile and I'm updated and all that stuff. For some reason, I often cannot get into the purple pill or the comments on the Spaces. Like my bottom right is only like a plus sign, which just creates a new post. I like on my timeline. So for some reason I can't get into the chat, but I did then create a new post, which is the template that I use for my banner. And I put inside that, like, I'm not like the graphics design guy. I had to look up all this stuff, but it's there. And I just wrote the pixel dimensions. And then because we were talking about mobile and desktop, so I do actually have the bigger version, and then the text and the body of the text and everything, like I think designers call it bleed, that is like inside of a smaller frame. So if you are looking to update your banner and you want to know what it looks like through mobile, I'm assuming, or you guys can tell me what it looks like on your side, but I've tested this over and over, and I've tested in a bunch of rooms and different phones and stuff. And this one seems to be working for me. So if it works for you, great. If not, and you have a better one, then just delete mine. But if it's on my profile, if you want to just check out the dimensions for the banner.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I did pin it up above if you scroll back. And I also pinned the space. So this glitch that Brian's talking about, I've heard about it from a few people. If you have that glitch and you want to comment below the space, I pinned up above this actual space, the comment section. So you just tap on that and it should take you to the comments and the replies, and you can get in there and you can see what people have been posting, what I've been posting and sharing, and you can repost the space. You can add your own comments in there, and you can find Brian's post down there as well. I quote posted it down there so you can find it. There we go. And there is I'm going to just click open these spam warnings because I'm getting spam warnings from a few people here so that you guys are aware of it. Let's see. It looks like Amanda's showing up as spam. I think that's just mostly Amanda. And yeah, that's what it looks like. So just fair warning, if Amanda's still in here, you are showing up as spam in the replies.
I don't think she's still here.
Yeah,
She's DMing me though.
Yeah, you can let her know. All right, so we're gonna go ahead to Jeff, whose hand went up again. And there was another point I wanted to touch upon. Maybe I'll remember it after Jeff speaks. Go ahead, Jeff.
I just wanted to say thank you to you, Kate and Christopher and Rich, for always doing these and being here, and for everybody else showing up. I'm going to drop out because I need to switch over to Yvonne Sayer's space right now. So everybody, thanks for being here. Keep doing what you're doing and have a blessed day.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And yeah, I know Yvonne's space shows she starts at round 2, and she has a great space too. So I know we can't keep everyone's attention forever, but I appreciate you, Jeff, for hanging out for as long as you did and adding what you had to say. And I've brought up a couple new speakers, some people that, the thing is with this space, you never know what you're going to get with new people and new accounts and everything. And I try and be very welcoming for that. So I do give people a chance, and we're happy to give advice, or if you have something you want to add or questions or whatever, you're welcome to request the mic. If you are disruptive or inappropriate, or we have any issues, we will drop you down. But I try and stay a little bit open-minded and let some new people speak here. So first, we've got Less Rubbish Products through their hand up. So I'm going to go ahead to them. And Miracle, if you want to speak, you can put your hand up. If you're not sure how to do that, we can also help you with that. Go ahead, Les Roberts Products. Welcome to the stage.
It's me again.
Oh, yes. Okay. So this is your new profile.
This is the baby toddler, no followers. Yeah. So
it's a good bit every time, man.
I just do little clips, you know.
And it's funny because you talked about this new brand or the new idea. When did I hear about it? Yesterday? I should have remembered.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at the profile picture, I've grabbed, these are kind of historic. A lot of things on there have changed and they've been sold and, you know, so this profile banner, I will move it around a bit and sort of play with it a bit more, but it's just so anybody that visits this page, I'll be running this in collaboration with YouTube, possibly Rumble, TikTok, I don't know, and just restoring things. It'll just be restorations. You know, I got this thing, cleaning it, deciding what to do with it, getting all, you know, cutting all the rusty bolts off of it and stuff, and I'll just sort of, I don't know, no strict plan, but this is just sort of a flavor of stuff that I've played around with in the past, really.
You know what? I was just going to suggest really quickly. I have seen a couple other accounts I know in my time here on X that have posted similar content, and I'm looking right now. I don't see a community for it. So you might want to start up at like a restoration guild community or something like that eventually. That might help your account grow too.
Yeah, well, I need to. I've actually got 5 different accounts on here, and this says August 2023, that was kind of the date I had whatever the idea was before this one, and never did anything with it, kind of thing. So, but yeah, I was tempted. I don't know if anyone's into Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but if anyone into it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I've listened to the audiobooks. They're great.
Well, in terms of community, this is an idea, yeah. Before Zaphod Beeblebrox became president of the galaxy, yeah, part of his resume was he ran a thing called the Beeblebrox Salvage and Really Wild Stuff Corporation. And I was sorely tempted to call a community that for people who fix things.
It's good. I think it's the perfect target market for people who will get that joke.
Yeah, for hoopy prudes.
Yeah, definitely. I think you should kind of embrace that idea. And okay, we're going to talk about brand versus a person, because this was like the ultimate thing that I wanted to get into when we were talking about what topic for the space today. And that is, we did touch upon it a little bit with the profile picture and everything, is like a brand or a logo versus someone's face on it. I think what works for Rich and for Christopher, which by the way is not his real photo, is that it is a person, right? Even though it's an AI generated image or artistic interpretation of an image, I really think that it's way more powerful to have a face, even with your other profile where it is the robot face or the anonymous, modified anonymous picture face. It's still, I think, a better approach than a logo. I don't know, like that's just my personal opinion. It's very hard to get people to get invested in a logo on social media. Established brands can do it because they're established. Like we know Coca-Cola, we know Nike, the swoosh, like we know these brands, so we're okay if we're interested in that brand to follow them and interact with their content. But when it's an unknown, it's so hard to do. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I don't want to like ruin your day, but I think a face as the brand, a face of the brand, it doesn't have to be your face. It could be any face, but would be a better approach. I don't know.
Duolingo is, like it's their mascot, right? So that's an option. Also, Wendy's also, their mascot is their logo, right?
Yeah, mascot is a great idea. That's a great way of putting it. That could be, so you can make like a junk man face image PFP for that.
Man. Oh,
yeah.
For him. Oh, okay, for his less than or less. Okay, sorry. I thought you were talking to Christopher.
Yeah, also it could apply to him. Just kidding.
No, I agree. I think that. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Les Robbie.
Let's Robbie. My real name is Mark. We might as well.
Okay. Hey, Mark.
Out of the way. God. Yeah, I'm gonna become Skits the way I'm playing this game at the moment. It's my 3rd profile in as many minutes. Yeah, I like that idea, and actually, I've got some quite cool old pictures I've got just weird random stuff from the past that could be kind of cool and could sort of almost fix it. You know, I'm a vintage character, so I might stick a vintage photo up maybe. I'll play around with it. I mean, what I'd like is, you know, I'll join the collaboration station and just throw it in there. And, you know, if anyone's got any suggestions or feedback, or hey, I could do this with your profile picture, or what if you did this, or, you know, particularly when it comes to filming, it's going to be very much just stick a pretty good mobile phone on a boom and just film stuff over my shoulders while I sort of narrate it. And if that doesn't go well, so you know, I'll just, without paying any money, I'm only allowed like 2 minutes, so it has to be 1 minute 50 seconds, and I'd like to do a little intro and a little outro, and I might just make little clips, you know, but just speed it up where I'm sort of sanding all the paint off of something. And step one, I'm going to sort of film the before and after of my horrendously disorganized workshop. I think is my sort of going to be my first few little forays into this game. But yeah, I think I should do it. And I think on my Gucky Fadget's profile, I've gone so far down the rabbit holes and politicizing and memes and stuff. I don't see it working trying to sort of suddenly start doing this. I just don't, you know, I just get a lot of abuse, I suspect.
So maybe for your less rubbish thing, you could maybe take little pieces of stuff you worked on and kind of try to arrange that into a face. Maybe that would be something you could do, and just take a picture of that.
Yeah, I also like the idea of like finding just like an old picture of you from it's you, but it's like from, you know, the 90s or whatever, and having like that vintage look to it. You know, like a picture of a picture might work too, but you know, that's up to you if you want to decide that. And I do think putting your name in, like, you know, Mark and then dash less rubbish products would be a good idea. So then people know what to call you if you're going to really go after this account. That would be my strategy. But Rich, what do you think?
No, yeah, I was I was just gonna make a joke and say, yeah, put your profile up there from, you know, years ago, back when you were less rubbish.
Yeah, because I'm assuming you probably don't want to put like a current photo. I don't know, but because it ties into the vintage idea, I like it. I kind of like that idea, that concept of like, it doesn't even have to be your picture. It could just be an old photo that's like, you know, blown out and sun blasted and looks vintage. It'd be cool.
You know, going back to the brand or the mascot, like, you know, I do like the Silver Dude character, and I put him in a lot of things, and that's why I've kind of stuck with this, is because I'm able to use it in a lot of different ways. I'm able to prompt AI and to recreate it and to like generate it. If I'm doing a post about, you know, the good morning, good night post, then I can create an image of like my silver guy saying good morning or good night, or if I have any other sort of scenario situation that I want to recreate him in, I can do that. And I think it's a little more memorable, you know, because it is kind of like a mascot. I think it's easier to remember something that's unique and kind of eye catchy versus just somebody's face. Maybe after you've been on social media all day long, maybe not, because, you know, there are YouTubers and stuff who just use their own identity and they brand that pretty well as well. But for me, yeah, I like being able to kind of brand it and use it in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm actually I think I'm going to wrap the space up here. I am going to quickly jump to my profile because I'm going to be doing a live stream shortly, like in less than an hour. Let's see, well, here it is. And I'm going to just pin this to the top. I don't have a link to the live stream, but it's just a little reminder post. And you can turn on notifications for me, or you can turn on notifications for Rachel, who was tagged in that post. I just pinned up to the top. If you guys want to join us on that live stream, we're touching on a few different topics. And it's basically what we always talk about is how you can use AI in your businesses. And it's just like simple, very much beginner level stuff, things to explore, new things to try, different apps. Sometimes we just update about like what's changed. We'll talk about what we're using ourselves in our work and things like that. So if anyone's kind of interested in that, how they can use AI tools kind of practically in different apps in real applications, then you might want to tune in for that. Usually we go for like an hour, not a huge time commitment. And I'm going to be what was it? We have this little bit of a demo that I'm going to be doing, which is we came up with like a campaign in Grok, or Rachel came up with a campaign in Grok. And then I took that campaign and created a graphic for it using AI. I also animated that graphic using AI, and then also came up with a way to narrate it with a voice generated by AI. So I'm going to walk you through how to do that. It's all very quick, very fast to do. I also used free tools except for the animating the image, which most of them do give you a free trial, so you could experiment with that. But I used Sora to animate it, which is included with ChatGPT Plus. You do get some credits with that. So a lot of people are subscribed, except for Christopher, famously no longer subscribed to ChatGPT
Nope.
Plus.
Nope. Had enough. Had enough.
But I think a lot of people are who use AI for in their businesses or freelance applications. It seems to be a very popular choice. So I thought, oh, I'd demo that because you do get some Sora credits every month with your subscription. So I wanted to show how you could use that in an application for a business, creating a graphic or even creating a GIF quickly. And yeah, so, and then the new voice generator. So tools that exist, which is exciting. So you can create a narration for a short little video pretty quickly and post it, not have to be worried too much about it, and, do an actual campaign and schedule it out for a holiday or whatever you're doing. So that'll be a lot of fun coming up in about 45 minutes. So I can get ready for that. We're probably going to wrap the space up. I know probably I'm ruining the poll. If you guys go back on the Projectotron back to the beginning, you'll find Christopher's poll, which I encourage you to vote on, because we're going to reveal what the results are a little bit early. And yeah, so let's go to Less Rubbish, Mark, again, and then we'll begin closing out the space. So thanks everyone for joining us.
So yeah, I will act on the advice. So I wasn't saying anything, but yeah, I found this one. So as you can see, I've always been a trendsetter. This was long before masks became popular worldwide.
Okay, yeah. So to see the new profile pics, you just click on his icon, go to the profile, and then once you do that, it'll refresh and you'll see the image, which is perfect. This is great. This is exactly what we're talking about. Something eye-catching, silly. You might want to edit it. I don't know, in Photoshop, maybe a little contrast, because when the stuff's small and on digital screens, like a little bit of contrast can help. But I think it's an awesome image. Great job. And taking advice and applying it in real time, which I absolutely love. I love that. All right, so let's go ahead to the poll results, and then we'll maybe hold on. Let's give our final thoughts on this topic. I think this was a fantastic conversation. We got into some real practical advice that people can do right away. I think the number one thing is next week, if you want to do the banner challenge with us, which is improve your banner, you can save the one you have now, work on this week improving your banner, and then we'll do like a before and after reveal for everybody in the replies. We can share your new banner, get some people to your profile to look at it. And if you want a critique on it, you can do that too. So I'm going to do that. So just as a final roundup, guys, my co-hosts, Rich, what was something that you took from today's space, or anything else you want to add that maybe we didn't get to?
No, I just think that it was a really good space as usual. And I think that we all just decide, who to follow based on our own interests and what we resonate with and whatever looks good to us. And so just be yourself, be authentic, be genuine. Don't be too spammy if you're trying to promote something. And yeah, just have fun with it. And I do want to just self-promote just a little bit. So I wrote a song for this space specifically titled Would You Follow You? I didn't quite get the music video done, so I just kind of scrolled through my For You feed, but I posted it in the little bubble below, and it's also on my profile if you want to check it out.
Yes, I totally forgot. Yes, Rich did a song just for the space. Perfect. So go check it out, engage with that, and share it out so that we can get the message out about how important it is to just think about things, remove yourself for a little bit. And would you follow you? Understand looking at your profile and what you do on here from like someone with no context and observing it with those innocent eyes and try and understand like what people think with that first impression, and if they're communicating the right message for what you want to do, your ultimate goal on here. Christopher, I'll ask you the same kind of question. What anything from this space that it's a good takeaway for you wanted to add before we reveal the results of the poll?
No, I just want to reiterate what I said before, which is if you're not excited doing what you're doing and putting your stuff out, and you're not excited for the like how people are going to react to it, then probably other people will not be excited either. You're not going to get the response that you're looking for. But it's just kind of man, you're putting it up and you're not sure. You got to switch it up and find something that you're more interested in. So you want me to do the poll? Yes.
Yeah. And I think the point is like, don't be afraid to pivot.
Yes.
Gunky, Mark, less rubbish. He's concerned about pivoting his profile, which I think, there is a concern there. I get it, but I don't think it would be that big of a deal. People do that all the time. But, you'd have our support from the community and us, no matter what you decide. So we're here to help however we can and encourage growth of whatever profile you decide to go with. And yes, now we have the poll results. And also make sure you talk about your capstone project, which you've pinned up above too.
Yes. So the poll was, are foods like escargot actually delicacies or just a trick people play on the tourists? And your options are yes, no, and maybe. Tied for last place is no and maybe. And first place, which is the correct answer, is yes. And plugging my series, I've got a 5-episode alternative history analog horror series. It's connected to a lot of my other projects. And yeah, I spent a lot of time on it. It's not just AI stuff. There's a lot of like manual animation that I did. And yeah, that's coming up at the end of this month. It's going to be a big thing. There's actually a marketing campaign with it attached as well. So if you want to see the preview for that, it's in the Projectron up above and it's in the comments down below. So please check that out.
Yes, check that out and make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm sure once that comes out, we'll do a dedicated space and talk about it and all the stuff that Christopher did and what it involved and everything. We get into the nitty gritty with those spaces when we dive deep into when he has a major release. And I do offer that service basically to anyone in the community. If you have something that is a big project that you are putting out and you wanted to get some buzz about it or just talk about it, because sometimes just talking about something will reveal like more than you even realize that you have inside, or to promote about something that you've done. And often just an interview type of format can get you prepared for maybe pitching things to go on other podcasts or onto podcasts to talk about projects you have, so you can have that confidence to reach out to those kinds of platforms to promote something that you have coming out. Like
yeah, she's really good at this, at getting, because you might not think that you've thought things through as much, but when you actually start answering questions about it, it becomes apparent. Like if you've been doing this for a while, it may not become apparent until you start talking about it, like how much you actually know about it and how much it's just going on in the background of your mind. So she's good at finding those threads and pulling them out.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and it's really can help your content, and because everyone loves that kind of behind the scenes or learning tips and tricks and all this stuff. And if you're not really kind of analyzing what it is that you're doing, can be a difficult process to unravel or understand and communicate. So, I'm very good at that. I will admit that I'm good at peeling that kind of onion on things. So whenever you have something and you want to get those sound bites, even, I did that with Brian, who was here earlier. I did an interview with him, and he can now, that's as a podcast format. And I've done it with Christopher before. It's as a podcast format. So if you want to be a guest on other things, or try and promote something, or put out a website with something on it, you have this podcast. It's like, hey, I was on this podcast. Here's the link. Listen to it. And you have a little bit of credibility behind you on it. And you don't have to be afraid of reaching out to someone that you admire and maybe possibly getting an interview or featured or shared even. Just interesting kind of how those connections can blossom. So we'll go to Mark one last time. Hands raised again.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just polite. I'm English. Well, British.
We love
But
that.
just something I do, or I got into the habit of doing, is if I'm doing something graphics, something design, I use Chromecast, so I'll just project it onto the 50-inch screen I've got in the front room. I'll go make a coffee, do something else, stroke the cat, whatever I might be doing, and then come in and go. And I find I like properly look at it. And same if I'm restoring furniture or something, I'm like, right, I'll leave it at this point, go do the washing up, go to the shop, half an hour, possibly the next morning I'll come in as if I'm seeing it for the first time and go to sort of to spot flaws, to see if I'm happy, to see where I'm going. And yeah, and I think with any project you're on, just like if my worst habit is I go too far. I just keep adding stuff. And I'm like, oh, it's so much better like 2 hours ago. But yeah, just walk away and just come back to it when your mind's completely clear, and you know, and there's that other thing where you toss a coin and you know when it's in the air what side you'd like it to land depending on the decision you're making. There's that kind of element to it as well. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah, so true. So true. If you're got a little block on anything, walking away and coming back always works. Like it will at least reset and get you back to a place where you can now tackle it again. If not, you have that light bulb moment. Sometimes that just happens too, which is super cool. All right. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us today. I hope you join me for the live stream, which will be happening in 35 minutes or so. So you can turn on notifications in my profile to get notified when we go live or when I go live. And that'll be a fun little hangout sesh. I have to go get ready for that. I'm a complete disaster. So I'm going to go do that. And we'll see you all next week. Again, we have this space same time every week on Wednesdays. And then we also do Sunday evenings. If you haven't joined us on that one, Sundays, 6 p.m. Eastern time on the East Coast of the US. So you can convert that. I know it's pretty late for a lot of people around the world, but that we just try and do different time zones so we can reach as many people as we can. So join whichever ones you can or both and come introduce yourself, share something you got going on, add to the discussion. We'd love to hear from you. Just listening is great too. And you can find this as a recording in a podcast format. You can go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and search for Collaboration Station. And you can follow the podcast. So if you miss any of the recordings or any of the interviews, the bonus episodes, all that stuff, you can listen to it a little bit edited with the ums and the pauses taken out. We get right into it and they're a little bit shorter because of that, which is amazing. And you can always keep up with what's going on with the community. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Thank you to all the speakers and the listeners. I see you down there. Appreciate your support and everything that you do. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next space. Bye.